Welcome back, fourth grade. I'm working in my sketchbook, finding a blank page. Gonna write the date at the top. And I am gonna write, you know what would be best? If we turn our sketchbook this time. Let's draw horizontally. This is lesson number 3, which is all about advanced spheres. I will start out just like we've done the last two with a circle in my page. Now this one you should make about the size of a quarter, not too large on this one. And when I look at my paper, I want to get kind of centered and sort of low. Last class we talked about how the low large items appear close. So that's placement, low on the paper. Size, that's large. They appear closer. And as things get farther away from us, they appear smaller. So when we're doing our drawing to create the illusion of space, we want to make multiple spheres today, and they're going to get smaller as they get farther away. So my first circle is right here, and I'm going to make an overlapping circle right here. It's going to be slightly smaller as I go behind it. And I'm going to do a second sphere right here on the other side. A little bit of a Mickey Mouse design right now. But that's about to change. Now I'm going to do another sphere. This one was placed here, and this was a little higher, so I'm going to go a little higher and make my circle a little smaller as I continue up the paper for a third row of spheres and maybe a fourth row, smaller still, and a fifth row maybe going way back here, much smaller this time. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Where this was at the bottom, I'm going to make a third row. And where this one touched the paper, I'm going to make another row here. And maybe I can get an itty bitty one over here too. That's going to be my smallest sphere. You may have run out of paper, but do the best you can with what you've created. Now we're going to fill in the space in between these balls as well. This is easy though. You just take a little rainbow line here, and now there'll be a row of spheres back here as well. And these in the middle are so easy. I'll put another ball right here. And maybe another one back here, getting a little bit smaller. And you just can fill in the space with the top of these little spheres as you go. Maybe my grouping is getting a little disorganized, I don't know. But now it looks like there's a whole bunch of spheres out on the table or something, like a pool, game of pool on the billiard table. Now we have a lot of spheres that we can do some shading on. We are going to need to decide where the light source is coming from, and I suppose I'll just keep it consistent and say that my light is over here, shining down from the upper right. So I'll drop a shadow under all of these spheres. Now these spheres might drop a shadow, a cast shadow on the ground, but if the light is coming from here, there might only be a little bit of shadow visible here. So with your pencil shading, you might drop just a little cast shadow under each of these spheres But over here on my left side of the paper, I'm going to drop a longer cast shadow. And it's going to be under each one of these spheres. The darker you go with your pencil, the more those shadows are going to help your shapes to pop out and look three-dimensional. Now, just like we did with lesson number 2, we added a little nook and cranny shadow between the two spheres. So today, we've got a lot of nooks and crannies. We're going to start at the front. This sphere is going to cast a little shadow behind it. So I'm just going to do a little nook and cranny shadow there. And another one behind this next row back here. And another one behind this third row. By the time I get to my fourth row, there's not as much detail I need to add. After we've done the cast shadow and the nook and cranny shadow in our advanced level sphere drawing, then the last thing to do is to shade each sphere. But I would say, starting at the front, we want the most details up close. That's kind of your focal point, your center of interest. So the best work we do is on this first shape. Again, considering that the light is coming from the upper right, I've got a shadow side over here, and it'll get gradually lighter across the shape. So holding your pencil loosely, scribbling is fine. We can do a dark side and get gradually lighter. Again, you'll see this crescent shape that I am using to indicate the contours of my form, to show more of the three-dimensional nature of the sphere. Each one of these should have a highlight where the white is showing the hot spot, and each one should also have a very dark side next to the table. However, we won't be able to see the darkest spots on all of those in the back. Really, we're only going to see the darkest spots on these that are farthest away from the sun. Go ahead now and loosely add dark value to the shadow side of these spheres.